Hello, everyone. Today's joke of the day is, what did the math book say to the chemistry book? Stay tuned to find out. Our learning target today is I can solve a one-step equation and use one-step equations to solve word problems. So we'll first look at a few one-step equations. Here we have y minus 6 is equal to 10. When we're solving one-step equations, the first thing we want to do is we can put in our railroad tracks to help us keep track of which side everything is on. Okay? The next thing we want to do is isolate the variable. In this case, our variable is this y here. So we basically isolate the variable. Variable means that we want to get y by itself. Okay, so we have to manipulate the equation so that we end up with y is equal to whatever number it is. Okay, here we have y minus 6 is equal to 10. Well, y minus 6, we want to get rid of that minus 6 because we want y by itself. So the opposite, or the inverse operation of subtraction, is addition. So we're going to add 6. And since we added 6 on that side, on the left side, we have to add 6 on the right-hand side. So we should end up with y is equal to 16. Now we can check our answer by substituting our what we get back into our equation. So we could do 16 minus 6 equals 10. Okay, and then that gives us 10 equals 10. So good, we checked it, we got the right answer. Now this next one said we have 8 equals z plus 3.5. Okay, now this time z is our variable and we want to isolate z. Okay, so we can write down our railroad tracks, and then we're going to do the inverse of addition, which is subtraction. So we'll subtract 3.5 on both sides, right? Because we have to balance the equation to keep it equal. And then we can positive 3.5 minus 3.5. Well, that gives us that plus 0, but we don't really need that because it's just 0. So anything plus 0 is just going to be that thing. So then we bring down our z. So we have z is equal to, well, we take 8 minus 3.5. If you're unsure about that, you can do that in your calculator, but that should give us 4.5. Again, we can check that, so we can have 8 is equal to, we'll substitute 4.5 back in for z, 4.5 plus 3.5, and then 8 is equal to, well, we can add our whole numbers. We have 4 plus 3, that gives us 7. Add those 0.5s, that gives us 8. 8 is equal to 8. Checked off, we got it. Now we have 4x equals negative 1.6. Okay, so we can make our railroad tracks. Now here 4x, we are multiplying there, right? You could put a little dot in there if you want to remember that you're multiplying. Okay, the inverse of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide by 4 on both sides to keep everything equal. Now 4 divided by 4, that's 1, so we could have this is 1x. But we don't really need that 1 because 1 times x is just going to be x. So then we end up with x equals, well, we have negative 1.6 divided by 4. That gives us negative 0.4. You could always check that in our calculators. Okay, and you know how to substitute that back in to check your answer, so we're not going to go over that again. Here we have v divided by 7 is equal to negative 1.4. Now we're dividing, so instead of dividing, we're going to do the inverse, which is multiplication. So we'll multiply by 7 on both sides. Now we have 7 multiplied by, divided by 7, right? So this is like 7 over 1. So we can cancel out those 7s. That gives us just 1, which leaves us with just that v. Then we have negative 1.4 times 7. Type that into our calculators. That gives us negative 9.8. Now we are going to look at some word problems and write equations from these word problems. Okay, so this one, Hank has M magnets. Okay, so we know I'm gonna highlight things that are gonna be important. He has M magnets. He purchased 7 more. Okay, more means that we are adding. Okay, more means addition. So I'm gonna put a little plus sign there that will help me out. Now he has 15 magnets in all. Okay, in all usually means equals. Okay, so with this in all, I'm gonna put an equals there. Okay, so now when we're writing our equation, we can think, okay, he has M magnets, so we write down that M first. He purchased 7 more. Okay, that more means that we added 7. Now he has 15 in all. So in all is equals. So our equation is that M plus 7 is equal to 15. Okay, so then we can figure out how many magnets he had to start with. Now we can solve this equation. Okay, we can write it in our railroad tracks. We're adding 7 here, so we'll subtract by 7 on both sides. And then we end up with m is equal to 8. Okay, let's check our answer to make sure we got the right thing. Does that make sense? If he started with 8 magnets and then he added 7 more, does that equal to 15? Well, yes, it does. Okay, so we had 8 magnets, purchased 7 more. That gets us to 15. Georgina has Y yellow bananas. She wants to divide them into 8 groups with 5 in each group. How many does she have in all? Okay, well, she has Y bananas to start with, and then she wants to divide them. Well, that's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. We're going to divide. And she wants to divide them into 8 groups with 5 in each group. 5 in each group means that that's that equals sign there. That's that equals. So where we have that in, I'm going to write a little equals, and then I'll remember my divide over here too. Okay, so if we have Y bananas, and we want to divide them into 8 groups, that is going to equal 5. Okay, so now we can solve this. Okay, we put our railroad tracks, Y divided by 8. Instead, we're going to multiply it by 8 on both sides. We end up with Y is equal to 40 bananas. That's how many she started with. Kizzy has 825 collectible pennies. Okay, 825, that's an important number. For her birthday, she received more pennies. Okay, so again, that more, which is going to tell us that we are adding. She now has 842 collectible pennies. How many pennies did she receive? Okay, she now has 842, so that is going to be that equals right there. She now has equals. Okay, so we can have our 825. She received R more, so we're adding R, and that equals 842. So we can finally solve this one. All right, we're going to subtract by 825 on both sides. I'm going to use my calculator for this one. That gives me 17 pennies. That's how many she received for her birthday. And you can always check your answer to make sure that makes sense. All right, 7 less than x is 8. All right, this one's a little bit trickier. So less than, okay, that tells us that we are subtracting. 7 less than x. So you would think it would be 7 minus x. But actually, 7 less than x means we started with x, and then we subtracted 7 from that. And that is going to equal 8. So now we want to figure out what is x. What did we start with? Okay, so we'll draw our railroad tracks. We'll add 7 to both sides because we're subtracting there. And we end up with x is equal to 15. All right, so what did the math textbook say to the chemistry book? At least you've got solutions. All I have are problems. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.